$120,000 in a year, you dumb making $30,000.
A lot of this stuff are one-time purchases that are not going to be made in subsequent
And you
years.
need them to survive.
One-time purchases.
And you need them to survive.
One-time purchases.
And you need them to survive.
This is what I'm talking about. One-time purchases.
To survive.
That are not going to be made in 2025
Doesn't
or
matter.
2026.
You needed them to survive.
So our spending.
Hey,
our spending is going to go down because of those one-time
No,
purchases are no
that's
longer
not how
on the
this
budget.
works. Next year, maybe you'll want to buy a chin. The spending that you did last year that are one-time, you're going to find one-time purchases next year.
So how about we go into the finances and look what we can fix?
Buddy, here's the fix.
I've been pretending to be rich for 5 years, but I'm actually broke. I'm 32 years old, and it started when I moved to a new city and wanted to reinvent myself. I rented a luxury apartment I couldn't afford, bought designer clothes on credit cards, and leased an expensive car. I told everyone I was a successful entrepreneur. For 5 years, I've been living this complete lie. I max out credit cards to pay for fancy dinners with friends, take loans to afford vacations I post on social media, and I borrowed money from family claiming it's for investment opportunities. My fake lifestyle has cost me everything.
How much debt do you have?
I'm $180,000 in debt across 12 credit cards.
Can you smell the
100%.
rich and the fake rich?
Yes.
What's the difference between people who are actually rich and those who are acting like they're rich?
People who are actually rich, like you rich, they're not concerned about impressing you.
Interesting.
They are apex predators. They do not worry about what you think about them.
Wow.
It is the guy that you see walking into a 3 Michelin star restaurant in a quiet, normal looking outfit, sweater vest situation, eats his meal, leaves a 50% tip because they can. That's true wealth. Then you've got the wannabe wealth that goes to that same restaurant, dripped out in a designer label, making a scene. Why isn't this water sparkling? This is still, I don't like that. No. Like, just, really, really new to the experience, and then leaves a 10% tip.
I'm not naming no names, but I wish you guys knew how easy it is to fake being wealthy for the internet here in LA. A lot of those big money guys and your favorite creators don't live where you think they live. So up the street from here, we have this $100 million mansion that costs $90 an hour to rent out. A lot of creators rent that space once a week, film their content, and make it look like they live there. Rent a Lamborghini or a Ferrari, $99 an hour. It gets crazier because most people in LA have a following, because to be a model or an actor, there's a lot of casting calls you can't go to unless you have a following. What used to happen is when you got with an agency, they would dump you a bunch of bots. Now most people realize how that damages an account, but the metrics are still there. And since most people don't know how to do that, they end up buying followers, likes, comments, shares, everything, so they can go to casting calls and keep their agency. There's even more because there's agency funded houses out here. Anyone who's part of that agency can go film there and make it look like they live there, and they encourage you to do this because it looks better for the internet.
Today, there are far more people pretending to be rich than actually being rich. And you wonder why? That's because it's easier to look rich than actually working hard towards being rich, right? It's easy to rent a villa for $90 an hour than to be actually wealthy enough to own that villa. These people, they're all around us. They're not just on social media. They're not just on Facebook and Instagram. These people live amongst us, who pretend to be rich, but are actually not. And these are the people who are driving up national debt. And this debt is serviced by the tax paid by people like you and me. And that is exactly what we're going to be looking at today. People who actually go on to buy expensive things that are beyond their means, and they still go ahead and buy it, and later on file bankruptcy because they cannot make their monthly payments. Be it a Mercedes, be it any sort of expensive furniture, expensive vacation, expensive trip. It could be any of those. Before we get into this, please make sure to subscribe this channel. We really need your help. We really need your support. Can you please subscribe? It'll really help us out. Let's get into it.
Want to feel good about your debt? Because I can guarantee you that a lot of you are in a lot less debt than me. It is nothing but consumer debt, and it is down to $109,597 from $123K. The debt is broken into 5 categories. 1, credit cards. 2, personal loans. 3, buy now, pay later, like Affirm, Klarna, etc. My auto loan, and my IRS. Yes, I owe the IRS. I've had so many people asking me for how much I owe in each category, so I'm going to start with credit cards. It's a lot of fun. Absolutely no particular order. We're going to start off with my Discover card. I owe $11,215.47. Next up, we have my TJ Maxx credit card. I owe a whopping $9,562.30. And then my Capital One Venture card, $9,937. And then my Alaska Airlines Visa Signature Bank of America coming in at $5,363.31. And my American Express card coming in at $8,782.73. And coming in strong simply with my City Simplicity at $4,902.33, bringing my grand total to $49,769.23 as of today.
And I really can't make any sense why she's so cheerful and happy about this whole situation. If I was in that situation, I would be really stressed, and I would imagine anyone else would be as well. Credit card debts are the worst debts that you can ever have. Majority of this credit card debt that she talked about probably has more than 25% interest rate. It is extremely hard to come out of a compound debt like that because it increases rapidly, and unless you start making payments in big chunks, you would not be able to get out of it very easily.
So I have a little bit of credit card debt, and a lot of that has to do with the fact that I moved to Nashville, Tennessee with not really that much money, and then I decided to fully furnish my bedroom. But I will say something I've learned over the past couple of months is that a lot of my friends also do too. And it's very comforting in a way. Like, not that I'm proud of my friends for having credit card debt, but I'm just like, oh, thank God I'm not the only one. Because at the end of the day, we're all just in our 20s trying to figure out how the fuck to live in a freaking universe where rent is like $1,500. Yeah, okay, yeah, sure. And then our parents are like, why are you in so much credit card debt? I'm sorry that rent isn't $400 like it was when you were 25. But yeah, if anyone is like down on themselves for having credit card debt, same. Like, God forbid I decided to fully furnish my bedroom and then buy a lot of clothes for myself and go out on the weekends, because at the end of the day, my hobby is going out and socializing. My hobby is hanging out with my friends. And one of my friends did point out the fact that like my credit card debt is not just like represented by the fact that I spent money on stupid shit. It's you did a lot with that money. You fully furnished your bedroom. You moved to a new city with it. You met a whole bunch of people because of it. I didn't meet these friends by going to the park and taking a walk. No, I met these friends by going out and going to get drinks and going to happy hour and stuff like that. So, yeah, this is your sign. Well, it's not a sign actually, but if anyone like hates themselves because of their credit card debt, just know that we're right there with you.
So she moved to Nashville, rented an apartment for $1,500, and decided to furnish her bedroom, where she's probably gonna only stay for a couple years. How logical is that? It makes no sense. If you're only gonna stay at the place temporarily, why do you need to buy brand new furniture and go in debt because of that? Makes no sense at all. On top of that, she claims when her parents were her age, $400 was the rent, and it was so cheap. But $400 back then was probably more than $1,500 now. The point is, a student should not be going under debt for furnishing an apartment or buying other luxury items like expensive cars, expensive watch, expensive bag, anything like that.
I have a question. How much credit card debt are you in? Because for context, I'm 26, I've been working since 17, paying for my own shit, moved out at 18, have been independent ever since. And I have $10,000 worth of credit card debt. And I will be the first to admit that I'm not perfect. I've definitely paid off medical bills and like emergency vet visits and things on my credit card, but I've also bought a lot of dumb shit. But it's like people my age have $55,000 worth of credit card debt. Do you see how my eye's twitching? That shit stresses me out. Like $55,000 is my take-home salary from my last job. Like, I think I'm just morbidly curious on like what gets you to the point of $55,000 worth of credit card debt. Also, who gave you $55,000 worth of credit in general? Like, not to mention, my credit usage, way high. Like 90 something percent. So my interest rates, 30%. Like, the interest would make me want to throw up.
This is a real conversation that I had with one of my friends when I was in university about her credit card, and I still think about this once a week. I have to pay off my credit card. It's like $700 this month. That sucks. What do you mean your credit card bill is $700? Like, I just bought all my textbooks and stuff, so I have to pay off my credit card. Like, it's $700. My credit card bill has never been over $10. What? Yeah, like you only have to pay the $10. What do you mean it's only $10? What do you mean you're only paying $10? Like, every month you get the bill and you only have to pay $10. It doesn't matter how much you put on. It's literally, you just have to pay the $10. How long have you had this credit card for? Since first year? We're in our third year university. Do people not know that? Do people not know that? People of TikTok, people of the internet, just know, like, please, just pay in full. Pay in full.
So believe it or not, these people exist. They for real don't know that they are supposed to be making full payment on their credit card every single month, and they just keep making minimum payment on their credit card. These people would probably never be able to afford or buy a home because of the accumulated bad credit score over the years, if not for decades. Can you really believe that there are people who actually think they can just keep buying whatever they want on their credit card and never have to pay for it as long as they keep making the minimum payment? Think about it. These people never ask themselves a question. If they are not paying for all the stuff they are buying, then who is? Since they are only making minimum payments. That's a real question out here. This happens because growing up in America, we have never been taught financial literacy. We don't get taught how to use credit card, which is probably the most significant financial thing that an adult should know. We get taught all kinds of things: algebra, math, physics, history, which are all good in its own place. But what about financial literacy? How to use credit card? How to borrow money? None of that is taught properly, and this is the result. The average credit card debt an American holds today is close to $7,500 per person. Think about that. That's how much debt we have in America per person just on credit card. This does not include automotive loan. This does not include the student loan. This does not include anything else. This is just credit card debt.
I decided to file for bankruptcy first, and then I stopped making credit card payments. So basically what happened is that I hired a bankruptcy lawyer, and I got financial advising, basically, that they were like, your best option is bankruptcy. And I was like, word, let's do it. Hired a lawyer. And then I had to stop making payments for 6 months before I could actually file, because you can't have like preferential payments on your record. Like, you can't pay off some creditors more than others. Because I had like a number of different creditors, like had a loan and everything, I had to stop paying off everyone all together at the same time so that it was all like equal, which was great because I was literally hemorrhaging money on payments that were making absolutely zero dent in my debt. So that was awesome. Yeah, but I decided first. I'm always down to talk about my bankruptcy, by the way. I love talking about it. It's like the best thing that I've ever done. And it has taught me so much about money and life and just like myself and everything. Like, it was the most valuable experience I've literally ever gone through. So I'm happy to answer any more questions. Let me know.
Can you believe this? This crazy person is actually encouraging people to file bankruptcy. Filing a bankruptcy is a financial death sentence for at least 10 to 15 years in future. You cannot buy or rent a home because of the bad credit score. Same thing with the auto loan. Same thing with the student loan. They just won't give you any sort of loan because they can see a bankruptcy for up to 10 years in your history. And in some cases, it stays on the record forever. It never goes away. Loans like student loan and taxes never go away. They still remain, that you still have to pay. And the collectors can still come after you after years. They stop calling you as soon as you file the bankruptcy, but they can still come back to you after years. The court can order to garnish your wages. They can put lien on your assets, on your home, on your car, everything, to collect the money. And unfortunately, people in the comment section in this video are actually asking how to file the bankruptcy the right way. People are actually commending her for what she did, which is filing for a bankruptcy. That is absolutely nothing to be proud of. Guys, if you watched this video up until here, you clearly like this content. Please subscribe to the channel. It will really help us out. We really need your help. And if you'd like to support further, you can buy me a coffee. I have dropped the link in the description. And I hope you enjoyed this video. I'll see you in the next one.